I have taken this workshop to different places and to different people, yoga groups, other community groups, martial arts individuals, and the response that comes from this is very favorable. I've had people come to me at the end and say, thank you. This is just after 2 hours of going through this. Thank you for, I believe in God again. Like that. That's pretty astounding, you know? And because there are a lot of agnostics out there. So the exercise or the execution of 9 devotions really has power in it. There's a lot of impact there. So let's look at the origins of these 9 devotions. To my limited studies, I will refer to the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein this very big megalomaniac demon, Hiranyakashipu, iconically puts his son in his lap. So, Prahlad, what is it that you have heard from school? And Prahlad says in some way, shape or form, he says, I didn't learn too much from school, but I have learned something else. And that is Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakyam Atmani Vedanam. Prahlad's father, Hiranyakashipu, didn't like the answer. He didn't like what was in the first line, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. If he said Shravanam Kirtanam Hiranyakashipuanam, it would have been just very appropriate, and he would have crowned his son right there, probably. But it didn't work out that way. And so therefore we have these 9 devotions. So starting, generally I do this in about 2 hours, because that's about as much time as you have with a group in an evening, but we have to cram it in. So now we're going to start with Shravanam. And most of you are familiar with these terminologies, Sanskrit. Shravanam, but you can say it anyways. It's purifying to say it. Shravanam. Shravanam means hearing, and it's the ultimate reflective listening process. We are encouraged to be very attentive to this, and we get a chance to do that during kirtan, bhajan, or japa. Those are the 3 levels of formats of chanting that Prabhupada has given to us. But we're going to do a little kirtan now. And, you know, great wars are always in our midst, or we are in the midst of great wars all over the place. And a lot of these wars would not happen. Wars are misunderstandings. Actually, I didn't want them to be passed out now because they will not focus. Now that everyone's shuffling papers. So just put that down, ignore it for now. Okay. And misunderstandings arise from lack of communication. People are just not listening to each other. They do not understand what the other person is saying. This is very common amongst couples. You know, husband and wife. Sometimes people call them 2 planets. The 2 planets don't communicate so well together. And but if they take a little time, yes dear, instead of just saying yes dear, and don't listen, but actually try to understand the emotions and the feelings what Mahatma was talking about, and then try to reflect back what the person was saying. You know, so even if you paraphrase it, then that other individual will be very, very satisfied. Yeah, I think you actually heard me. Your ears were more than open. It went inside, it stayed in there, processed, and it came out in the form of, well, you repeated what I said. So this is a very big part of our devotional advancement. The prospects of advancing in Krishna consciousness come from good hearing. And so what I find a symptom of not so good hearing or inattentive hearing during kirtan is that when someone is taking the lead, which Gaur is going to do momentarily, people don't follow the lead and they take a version of what they've heard before and impose their own idea. So that is the problem. our own self-imposition on things, on the mantras. And we think what is supposed to come out, but it's not actually. So like say in the morning, at Mangalarti, Prabhupada encouraged us to use the morning tune. Etc. Thank you. With an echo. Okay, good. And sometimes, then part 2 comes in, and this is where sometimes people don't actually follow. They haven't heard. Of course, some people have better hearing, musical abilities than others, but it's there. We should try. And Prabhupada, the one way he described what is a Vaishnava is someone who always tries. Not someone who does, but someone who tries. So you always have to keep trying. Okay, so the whole idea is to try to step into someone's shoes and go for some reflective listening. When you're stepping into the Mahamantra, or what we might call uploading the Mahamantra, is that okay to say that? You do your job as uploading the Mahamantra. Then you try to listen to Krishna, try to feel Krishna, try to see Krishna as much as possible. And if we're not doing that, then we're not being too reflective, we're not being too attentive, and not sensitive enough. So let's hear this ancient mantra, the voice of the divine, and try to grasp what it is saying to us without our own self-imposition. So Gora, can you lead us? Give us 5, okay? He's leading, we follow. And he'll do part 2, and then we do part 2. Okay? And with your back and neck and head erect in a straight line, we get better results. And you can close your eyes if you like. You can sway if you like. Just don't fall off your chair. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Thank you. Hearing and chanting and clapping. Thank you, Gauri Lakshminath and Krishnadas. Hare Krishna. Jai. Hearing. Have you ever stepped inside someone else's shoes through reflective listening? Do you listen or hear others very well? Or do you self-impose? Let's hear an ancient mantra, the voice of the divine, and try to grasp what it is saying to us without self-imposition. Then with chanting, which is kirtanam, After listening to a simple mantra, utter it yourself, because it has a quality of sound far beyond our mundane experience. Chanting is the companion to hearing. Simply hear and chant and repeat. Good. So this is how our devotional life starts. Many misunderstandings can be dispelled just by listening to other persons. And what to speak of the sound, the Maha Mantra itself is the direct representation of Krishna for the chanter. So if we hear him or see him through the mantra, then naturally you want to, let's say, prolong that experience. And so you do that by responding. So those are the two first of the 9 devotional experiences that we just brought ourselves onto. Now we'll go to the next one, Smaranam. Smaranam means basically, in a spiritual context, it means to remember something positive, okay? Especially when we're talking about in the realm of the mode of goodness. So to thrust ourselves into the mode of positive thinking, recall or remember some incident that occurred in your life that led to a leap of faith and turned life around. So we're asking devotees here, anybody who would like to share some experience, just like Mahatma was asking, have you had any experience about dealing with, deal with guilt? What was it that you went through in the past, and how did you process it? How did you respond to it? So we're asking if you could do something like that as well. Is there something that happened in your life that really turned things around? Like last week, I met somebody who just went down a dark tunnel and did all the wrong things, drugs, the whole thing, hit rock bottom. The beautiful thing about hitting rock bottom is you can't go any further. You can only go up. And so this is what we're looking for. Now, some of you, because pretty much everyone here in the room has got devotional experiences, maybe that's what is the most prominent thing in your mind. I was miserable, and getting into some details, I broke up with my girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever the case is. I was really down, and then something happened in my life. I realized I shouldn't have a big chip on my shoulder. What was that thing that happened to you that turned things around? So we're trying to get into the area of positive thinking. And when you look around, you talk to people, they don't know what positive thinking is. An average, I would say many Canadians, people in our country here say, good morning. So what's so good about it? So prevalent in the world today. And especially, this is my observation, I go to different countries in the world, India being one of them. In the developed countries, people have that cynicism about them. And when you go to some of the developing countries, how are you doing? How's life? Oh, I'm very happy. Isn't that strange? You're in a country where you got everything and people are just down in the dumps, totally miserable. And we know, we've got that categorized. It's a box for us. It's one of 3 boxes, one of the 3 energies. And we call it tamagun. It's ignorance, and we should never be there. So what I'm asking you to do, those of you who like to step forward and, share with us your story, to tell us a little bit about what happened to you when you were down in the dumps, or you hit you were in a low zone, and something helped you to elevate your consciousness. So it doesn't have to be a Krishna conscious, a Karmi to Krishna story. It can be anything. What we're trying to do is generate positive elements. And the first time I walked across Canada, I met Mrs. Dietrich. Who is she? She's my English teacher, from high school. And she's pulled over. There was an article in the paper that day. I was on the front page. And the town I was born, Yahoo, that was a great victory. And she pulled over and she says, John, that was my name before. Oh, and then gave a big hug. And I never did that to an English teacher ever before. Nor did she. And we just got to talking, and it was so nice. She hit it right on. She said, we just have to count our blessings. And people do not count their blessings enough, that's for sure. Sometimes amongst the devotee community. So we're asking for little testimonies. Anybody who wants to share their story to generate the mode of goodness. And it's in keeping with our topic. We're smaranam, recalling the positive, okay? And the ultimate positive smaranam, let's say, experiences when you decided to take the spiritual path. So is anybody who would like to begin? Now, I was saying this is going to be interactive. I'm not going to do all the talking. We're going to involve you. So anybody who wants to say something, if we have a microphone, do we have a gopher? Gopher? Okay. Prabhu, you'll have to be gophering it. Okay? You'll have to stand up. Okay. And move around. And so those who are speaking, speak in the mic nice, loud and clear, and help us. Okay? So who would like to begin? Krishna Kripa.
Well, you're talking about hitting rock bottom, so I lived in the temple and had a great time, but I couldn't make it, and I felt really bad because I couldn't make it, and I went back to my old life. But I got so depressed that I actually tried to kill myself, but not very enthusiastically. So I failed. But I voluntarily put myself in a mental hospital for a couple of weeks to and during that time I got back into doing TM, which I used to do before I met the devotees. And my mind cooled down, so I remember that I used to live in a Hare Krishna temple, and I was in Providence, and I called the people in Boston and New York and found out if there was a Hare Krishna temple, and I found out there was one in Providence, and I started going to the temple, and I completely resumed my previous devotional life, which had gotten covered over by all kinds of depression and illusion, and I was in a bad state because I realized I couldn't find happiness in the material world, but I failed spiritually, and I was sort of really down. But I came out of it.
John, good story. Should we, for anyone who comes forward and tells their little story, should we give them a little clap? Or anybody who wants to offer something to say, could you tell us your name as well? Okay, because we're just getting acquainted with each other. Well, with that T-shirt.
So I was about 14 years old, and I remember I had my stomach problems at that time. I was having really severe stomach cramps, and I remember one time I was just standing there, and it was about 1968. It might have been even around the time Prabhupada was in Montreal, and I was in Montreal at the time, but never met Prabhupada or anything. But somehow or other, I was praying to God, oh, please take this away, please. And then I started thinking, I only turn to you when I'm in pain. Why can't I remember you, more and more? And, I was brought up Roman Catholic, and I knew there was a God and everything, but then there wasn't that, there wasn't all the pastimes and the holy name and everything else, but still, I had that feeling that I really want to just remember you always rather than only when I'm in pain. And that to me was a big turning point in my life.
Nice. Gopher.
Hare Krishna. So,
who are you?
I'm Daniel.
Thank you.
And my story starts sort of from a place of not having answers that I was looking for. I grew up with an agnostic father into science, space and stars, and a Christian Baptist mother, and kind of stuck in between. When I moved out, started exploring Buddhism and meditating, and just kept getting more and more answers. And at some point I wasn't getting them, so I started asking other people if anyone else is interested in learning about, certain spiritual ideas, and most people weren't into it. And at some point, I didn't realize it was happening, but similar to the talk earlier today was, I thought I was doing everything correctly. I thought I was so good at my job and my friends and everything. And then at some point I started kind of looking inwards and trying to fix that, but I didn't have any ways to do that. So at some point, I actually kind of got fed up with people not listening to me when I was speaking to them, and I got fed up with certain habits I had. And I actually remember just turning to every single person that week and just asking, do you want to start a club? Like, we'll just meet up and make some food, maybe vegetarian, and we'll do some reading and meditate and play some music. And I was told that there's already a club like that. So I just kind of went to the temple in Ottawa and checked it out. I was really scared at first. I felt very, very uncomfortable. And the more I spent time around the devotees, the more clarity I had going back to my old lifestyle. And just slowly, like it was said earlier, wasn't finding happiness in the material life, didn't fit in the spiritual life. However, I've noticed that even when I go back to the material life, the spiritual life is just paused. It's like a book. You just open up your book and start reading again. For me, it was just sort of wanting to be around people who are happy. And I wasn't seeing that where I was, so I just kept trying to find people who were happier than me or as happy as me. And then I found you.
You found people as happy as you were, or you found people happier than you were? I hope so.
Mahatma, anybody else?
Oh, you want me?
Well, you put up your hand.
I was just stretching, but this is like...
It was meant to be.
This is like 60s hippie, so, what can I say? So, I don't know, maybe I was 16, 17, started meditating with Maharishi. So I had some experience with meditation. And then, as a youth, we were experimenting with psychedelic drugs. So, one fine day, I was offered some mescaline I'd never taken before. And I remember the experience. I guess every happy hormone in my body was excreting at full steam, because I felt very happy. Really, really happy. And the whole time I was thinking, I know there's a way to do this without drugs. There's got to be a way to do this. There just has to be. It's just like crazy. This very strong intuition. And that was my last experience with any psychedelic drug. And from there, it was like, okay, let's find it. And then, about 3 or 4 months later, Bhakti Howard was sitting on campus with the Bhagavad Gita, who later became Rita Maharaj. And he was teaching a Bhagavad Gita class. And it all came together, and everything changed. So, all due to that mescaline. A lot of devotees say, did actually psychedelics help you become a devotee? And our answer is, it's like, you're drowning in the river and you grab onto a log, but when you get to the side of the shore, you leave the log. So yes, it helped to a certain
Maybe one more person can share their story.
I could give a few, but I'll just
say
one. So, my mom gave me the ultimatum when I was 17. Either I prepare myself to go to the University of Manitoba, or if I just wanted to play my guitar and sing, I could move out. So I did it my way, and I decided, okay, fine, that's how you're going to treat me. I'll do it my way. So I got a job in a record store. It was the largest record store in Western Canada. It was called Opus 69, run by 2 Jewish businessmen. Nothing against Jewish people. I grew up in an they can be some of the coolest people. And, you know, we all have different, you know, there's different examples in every race. So, anyway, by the time I was, like, I don't know, 19 years old, I had 800 record albums. And so I was the guy to go-to for music. And I had two friends that were students at the University of Manitoba. They were microbiologists, and they got hired to, you know, work for beer companies. And I thought, well, gee, you know, they're educated people, and they're just helping to promote beer, so that's not the answer. Anyway, we get together on the weekend. I'd come with all the records, and they'd come with the jug of baby duck wine and all the reefers. And so we'd smoke up, and we'd drink, and we'd listen to all the cool tunes. But I had met Nandikeshwar Prabhu on my way home. I had a band, and I was coming home one night at 3 in the morning, and he said, "What kind of acts are you playing?" He had the perfect one for me. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. And so I was very eager to show him my guitar. It was played by George Harrison. It's the kind that George Harrison played. He said, "Oh, did you know George Harrison, the Hare Krishna?" And I said, yeah, I got the Hare Krishna Temple album. I went for the Sunday feast. He gave me a set of japa beads, and I wanted that altered state of consciousness that I was looking for that was beyond drugs. I started chanting, and I started experiencing an altered state of consciousness. I had that strength now to stop smoking. And when I got together with my friends that weekend, and they had wine and the joints, I decided, no, I want to stay straight, because I'm experiencing something that I never experienced by drugs or alcohol. And I watched my friends obliterate themselves into, you know, hey, try some of this, man. No, it's okay, you know, that's what you need. Fine, you know, I'm doing this meditation, I'm feeling pretty good. By the time the evening was over, and I saw how wasted they were, and I realized that I was like that the weekend before, then I chanted with even greater earnestness. And I tried to share the Maha Mantra with all my musical friends, and they were, hey, if that works for you, that's cool, you know, you don't have to go overboard. But that was it opened my eyes and realized I really got to hold on to this Maha Mantra, otherwise I'm just going to go down.
Thank you. All right, folks, so that was Smaranam, you know, recalling the positive. And of course, if we continue on the horseback of Krishna consciousness, we'll eventually remember Krishna too. We're going down the list here, but I'd like to hop over a couple and jump into praying. That's Vandanam. So first of all, to get reacquainted with these words, Shravanam. If you could repeat that, is hearing. Kirtanam. Good. And then Smaranam. Remembering. Okay. Good. So now we'll go to Vandanam, which is prayer. Prayer has power. It is an earnest request for strength, especially inner strength. We're asking if everyone here could participate. And we're going to pass out, how many of you believe in pens and papers? Like me. Okay. We're going to make use of them. Compose a prayer. Put it into your own words. You don't have to be a Shakespeare. Let the words come from your heart. So as we know, there are many different forms of prayers. Maybe we can put them in 3 or 4 categories. The categories, one of the 3 energies, that is tamagun, ignorance, rajagun, passion. You know, tamagun, an example of that. Oh, please God, destroy this person. You know, on my back. Okay, but we don't want to go there. Sattvagun, mode of goodness. And then finally, asking for inner strength. There's different people pray to God for. I need a good woman. You know, and that's not where we want to go with this. We want to, really let it come from the heart, okay? So we're asking if you could just do that. We're going to give you maybe 3 minutes to do that, compose. And if you need more time, just write your prayer from your heart. And you may take guidance from some of the prayers and bhajans that have led us, like the acharyas and Bhaktivinoda Thakur and so on, to get some ideas. But really, let it totally flow. And we're going to ask some of you to then share your prayer with us. Share the prayer. Okay? Okay, so I guess what we could do then is take that time now to ask volunteers to come forward with the mic and share your prayer with us. And that certainly will inspire others in a certain mode of thinking. And introduce us to your new friend, okay? And the best thing is to exercise martyrdom, which means try not to look at your page if you wrote things down, but look at it right now real fast. You got just a few seconds, and then we need volunteers to do this, okay?
His favorite color is blue. The northeast end of Canada, which is a place I've never been before, out past Seven Islands, which is really a beautiful country. So he had great childhood in the woods, and his aspirations are to be a great devotee. He's, a person who's open. From what I've come to know of him, I've met him at the temple a few times, and I've seen him always go around helping people and never talking much. He's very quiet, but he's always attentive, and it's just a pleasure to know you.
Shall we do a little? Hi everyone, so let me introduce my new friend, Bhaktimarga. So he's from Montreal, but he lived in USA for several years, 25 years. He was involved in mortgage and finance until it crashed. And then he moved back to Canada. So his father is green? No. Yellow. Working his occupation. So now his occupation is to work on himself, to be a good person. And that is his goal for the rest.
Good morning, everybody. Very excited to introduce my new friend, Aruna Keshavi. She's from South Africa. Her occupation is taking care of her sons. She is her son servant. She has a background in communication and working with people who have speech disabilities, but right now, as I said, she's full-time mom. She's very creative. She likes to work with her hands, like when it comes to stitching, creating, and stuff like that. She hates when drivers on the road don't know where they're going and what they're doing. She loves favorite colors. She loves bright colors. And she aspires to become a better devotee and a better disciple.
This is my new friend Siham, who's from Fez, Morocco. She is a dentist, but she doesn't like doing that, so she's now a public servant. Her hobbies include biking, reading, yoga, and she does not like to travel any longer because she finds that it's tiring and she doesn't like the jet lag or the packing and getting ready to travel. Her biggest pet peeve is dishonesty and a lack of humility towards people. Favorite color is black, and she aspires to be a better person.
This is my friend Krishna Kripa Prabhu. He's originally from Albany, New York. And his occupation is that he's a Hare Krishna monk. His favorite color is purple. His pet peeve is he gets a little irritated with putting a lot of energy to help people become followers of Srila Prabhupada in ISKCON, and they end up going to the Gaudiya Math.
I just think about whether things are, controversial.
He aspires to taste the nectar of devotion. And and his hobby is he enjoys uploading videos of Harinams and classes and putting them on his blog.
Yeah. This is Gaurav, who I'm very to get to know more about here. And he's from, let's say, Winnipeg, Manitoba, which I didn't know before. His hobby is taking Bengali bhajans and adding jazz chords to them. Cool. His job, what he likes to do is he likes to give lectures at the colleges when he gets up enough enthusiasm to promote himself. I can't remember all the questions. If you can help me remember.
Favorite color, pet peeve?
God. You said you like yellow. Likes yellow. Orange Hijai. What were the other? Pet peeve. Oh, his pet peeve is when when people are lowering Srila Prabhupada's standards, and he mentions it to them, and they react in a very negative way.
They rationalize those things.
Or there's rationalize their adjustments. Did any other questions on this?
That's good enough.
So, I think I interviewed Peruvi more than she was able to interview me. We joke that we need more like 2 hours and 2 minutes to do this exercise properly. So this is Peruvi, and she is from Noida, which is in New Delhi. Her father is Bengali. So we have that in common because I lived in Mayapur for 6 years, so we have a little Bengali connection. And she lives in Russell, Ottawa, with her husband right here. And she's pregnant. She's preparing for that. Her occupation will be caring for her child.
It's an occupation.
Yeah. She has a lot of hobbies. We're going to get to that. Her favorite color is white, and her pet peeve is when people are superficial. And we didn't get to the other questions.
Hi everyone, Hare Krishna. My new friend's name is Januga. I find her very, very sweet already. She is from Bhaktimarga, Florida. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. Her occupation is being a marriage counselor, and her hobby is gardening. She also likes color white. That's all I could know. We just got carried away with something else.
There you go. Thank you, Maharaj, for this exercise. I made a new friend today. I first saw him at the public scene year after year. We've never talked, right? Over 40 years, so you made us do that. Thank you. His name was Advaita Chandra Prabhu. He was actually on the list for initiation from Srila Prabhupada in April 1977. He was Bhagavan's first initiated disciple, early 1978. He's from, he said, up in the north of Quebec area here. So, yes, definitely. And he was a driller, which sounds like a common job here, I imagine, in Canada. There were probably a lot of drillers. So he did taking all the natural resources, But now his occupation is Harinam, daily Harinam. His hobby is Harinam. And his aspiration is continued Harinam. Because he knows that it's the most pleasing to Srila Prabhupada. As a faithful disciple, he's doing Harinam. His favorite color. I don't think we crossed this. Oh, blue. We have the same favorite color, blue. That's a tough one. That was a tough one. And we have the same pet peeve. I'll describe my version. is I don't like people who are late for meetings. You know, you say you're going to meet someone at 2 o'clock, because to me it shows a lack of respect. And so that's my pet peeve. And to me, if you say 2 o'clock, it means basically 5 minutes before 2. So that just happens to be a pet peeve that you should. So it was very nice to meet you.
So also I had the opportunity, you've known him for a long time because no. But yes, this is the opportunity to meet him personally. I'm very happy about it. And so he's from Philadelphia?
Yes, that's
His occupation was auto parts, selling auto parts.
Rebuild.
Right. So
it was a real business.
Right. Recycling. Yeah. And then his hobby is cooking or baking. And then favorite colors we have the same. It's blue. And what is your future vision? Talking about throwback.
Hare Krishna. This is my new friend Yashoda Priya, and she's originally from Kazakhstan. I was close. She is a care provider and a homemaker, and her favorite color was a great question. She says she loves all colors because she's an artist. And pet peeve was bad behaviors. She doesn't like bad behaviors. And I think that's it. Oh, and her hobby was anything artistic, decorating, creating.
Very good.
Okay, Hare Krishna. This is Ishri. And she is from Mississauga, which is very close to Toronto, in Canada. Her occupation is, she's an assistant in Montessori school, assisting teachers. Yeah. Okay. She doesn't like to be rushed.
She doesn't like to be
Rushed. Yeah, of course. And her favorite color is green. About future, we didn't discuss it.
No,
We didn't have a chance.
Yeah, we didn't. She was rushing me, and I got it.
So this is my new friend Jorge, or George, or George. He's from Lima, Peru, which is actually close to the ocean, and 20 million people city, so I learned a few things about that. His occupation, he was a dentist in his home country, and now in Canada he's working as a dental technician. Hobby would be reading, and he would like if he could take a sabbatical year at some point soon, or at some point to learn and read more. Pet peeve is basically customers or people who think they know everything, and his job is to tell them about what they don't know about, and how to do that is not always easy. So he's found it's been a useful experience to how to navigate people who are like that, and so he's happy he's learned it, but it's always a challenge. And that's all we do.
My new friend Matthew.
Speak in the mic.
He's my new friend Matthew. He's from Ottawa. He's working in like management, farmer market. He's likes his job, but he's trying to look for something else, like new opportunities, new challenges. We didn't get to the color. Oh yeah, the driving, the aggressive drivers. Like tailgating, and he hates that. Yeah.
Krishna, I got to meet Ila. He's from Ukraine. His occupation is a computer engineer. He works for like insurance companies that he tries to find the faults or the defects in their computer systems and so forth. His occupation, well, his hobby is computers and like that. His pet peeve is his relatives' emotions. Sometimes his relatives get a little too emotional in kind of awkward situations and so forth. His favorite color is blue. And his aspiration, he's looking for more association with devotees, to be more able to spend time with all of you.
Hare Krishna, this is Vaishnava Prabhu. He's from Ottawa. His favorite color is blue. And he doesn't like dishonest people. And his inspiration is reading more, getting into the scriptures, Srila Prabhupada's books. And his occupation is building manager.
This is my friend Mahatma Das, and his favorite color is burgundy. He lives in Alatra, Florida, and Mayapur, and many other places. His hobby is occupation is many other businesses, does marriage counseling, and preaching a lot online, Facebook. So whoever doesn't have him on Facebook, look him up. His pet peeve is doing classes that don't relate to any topics or that are relatable to anyone. And he aspires to do a TED Talk, TEDx talk, and to be able to increase Krishna consciousness all around the world.
I aspire to be rich and famous. Can anyone help me? Mandali Ram here. He's got 11 other brothers and sisters from Ottawa. And his favorite color is, I think that color Maharaj is wearing.
Orange.
So, orange, more orange. Similar? Yeah. So, he did have a pet peeve. And I said, my pet peeve is you hear a class that doesn't relate to anything. You walk out of the class and like, what happened? And he said, yeah, okay, that's my pet peeve. And that sounds good. And he aspires to make prasadam and distribute prasadam to every living entity on this planet. So he's got a lot of work ahead. Hare Krishna.
That's it, I think. Okay, so that's called Sakya. Can everyone say that? Sakya. Not making a new friend. That would be a nice proposal to make a new friend every day. One each day, 365 new friends at the end of the year, which would be really nice, wouldn't it? Okay, so what we're going to ask you to do, hold on to your friend. You're going to have to physically do that. But face your friend, if you could do that. Face your friend. Face your friend is no longer existing. Then you guys team up. Face your friend. Okay. We'll make a little declaration, okay? Person A to person B. Please repeat after me.
After me.
Okay. My dear Prabhu. You are my friend.
You are my friend.
You are also my master.
Oh, you are also my master.
I'll do anything for you. Okay, person B to person A. Okay. My dear Prabhu. Prabhu means master. And so I am prepared to do anything for you. So long as it's within reason. Okay, so anyways, we hope that little declaration went deep into your heart. Although it's fast, like I said, any one of these topics can take a whole workshop in itself. we are zipping through here. And since we want to finish here, I would say that making that kind of declaration falls into the category of, it could be one of two. So it could be serving in humility, or serving in humility, which is on your list there. Then doing something practical for your new friend. Okay, so you have a chance to be here with each. We're all here for the next 2 to 3 days, right? So you have a chance to do some service for your friend. Okay, something special. Go out of your way. Do something nice. Offer something in the form of a gift or some practical service. You know, when it comes to prashadam time, there's opportunities there. Can I do your laundry? Can I shovel the snow with your son? Whatever. Okay, come up with something original, creative, and this way you get to practically do this. So because we're really short on time, with this presentation, we also will, for a new group of people that are not familiar with like honoring a sacred image, we will introduce them to it. Okay? So like for instance, I know that in these buildings here, they really play up on the Buddha image. Yes. So that image has a lot to do with, you know, if you look at it, it's very symmetrical, it speaks of balance and so on like that. In some traditions, he's important for many people in the world. In some places in the world, if we were to go to a Latino country, you can put up an image of Jesus or Jesus and Mother Mary, you know, with the Bambino Jesus, and you can just put that up there. Or like in our case, we have Radha Krishna. I always carry this with me when I do these presentations. And I'll put that in a little altar, a little stand, and then we'll provide little candles or something, or a stick of incense, and share that and chant Hare Krishna at the same time. Everyone's familiar with the Maha Mantra by now. You can pass out Maha Mantra cards to people right off, right from the onset of this presentation, so they have it before them. They can engage in Shravanam Kirtanam in the middle. So we'll go through this practical practice of just passing the incense or the flame to everyone. They have a chance to do archana. Okay, that means honoring a sacred image. Okay, we've got everybody familiar with the sound. We've got everybody to understand what is God in the form of a friend, etc., etc. Now we can appreciate God, the divine, in the form of some image. So that covers a few things right there. That's archanam. Everybody can say that? Archanam. Okay. There's small purports under each heading here. And so that leaves us now with surrender, Atmanivedanam. Surrender is the attitude of no resistance, of letting go. It's something we all must come to terms with. The spirit behind it is so, so sweet, and therefore we call it sweet surrender. Let's project ahead and taste it. Okay, so what we're going to ask you to do, the last item, because we have limited time here, is to lie down on the floor, okay? And you're going to get acquainted with the ceiling a little bit. You can put your feet this way, in this direction. I'm not sure what that is, east, west, whatever it is, this way. And just relax. Get away from your chairs, get away from the benches, and just really totally relax. Okay? Put your arms to the side. Close your eyes. This is called Atmanivedanam. Atmanivedanam. We're going to just go through the simple exercise of no resistance. The spirit or the attitude behind it is just let go. Let God. That's the idea. Just let go. So get in the most relaxed position possible. And we just want you to have no worries, no fears whatsoever. Some people will call this mindfulness or mindlessness, one or the other. But just don't have any worries, don't feel no obligations, no resistance. I personally like the image of surrender. I'm way up north. I got myself stuck on an iceberg, and sharing that iceberg is a hungry polar bear, and my destiny is pretty much locked. I have nothing to do but to surrender. Say, okay, Krishna, this is it. I'm going now. I'm just, do with me as you wish. So that's the idea. So just for 1 minute even, just 1 minute, give us your spirit, impose on yourself, which is really just a natural feeling. Letting go. Nothing else is going to work for me except for surrendering to Krishna. My dear Lord, from this day on, I am yours. So, with no other encumbrances, simply get into that mindset. We'll give you 1 minute. So I'm sure most of you can understand what it means, time, how important it is. And I think that usually, like about this size, it's just kind of perfect for this kind of exercise. If it gets to be 50, 60 people, it's a little bit out of control. But as I mentioned, we've done this with a lot of groups, and everyone has a real pretty good experience. So just for, we do have one more item to pass out to you, but not right now, if you could just hold on. We just want to ask you for a little feedback. That was 9 devotions done in a zik. Maybe not the best way. But if you can give us some reflections, what did you like? What was the favorite? Or what would you like this kind of approach? Hare Krishna. And I say, I didn't give a class, did I? I really didn't. I just facilitated. And you all did the talking pretty much. So it's a nice way to get people involved. It's very interactive. And it's fun with any kind of group of people. Doesn't matter who they are, in New Age, old age, middle age. Any comments?
I learned today that I'm actually pretty bad at making friends because I ask 2 questions and then forget to ask more. So it was a learning experience to realize how much less fear there is when you actually know the people you're around, and how easy it is to make friends with them by just asking questions.
Okay. So you like Satyam?
I liked, yes, Satyam.
I like the prayer part. It looked fun, but it was really deep. People really expressed their very intimate, feeling about what prayer meant to them. So I really liked the fun and the sincere part of that specific item.
Nice. Good.
I liked the remembering parts, Varna. Positive thinking is very important. I just realized again how we should be grateful to the things that happen to us, and thinking positive is what helps us to transform our consciousness. So I really like it.
Thank you.
In fact, it is flexible. That it's something that can be done in many different circumstances with any kind of people, and I wish we had more time.
However, for myself personally, I thought Vandana was most important because it reminded me that I need to be praying. Other than chanting Hare Krishna mantra, I need to be praying to Krishna and Srila Prabhupada every day. I need to make that a part of my life.
Thank you very much. I like all parts. I really like hearing because through the hearing we get all this information. I like praying. I like making friends as well. Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, we hope that some of you will be inspired to do this kind of presentation to your people. And again, any group of people will be happy. 9 devotions workshop. It's all in how you promote it and so on like that. You see, it's non-threatening. That's really what it is. And maybe you want to change the dialogue a little bit for different circumstances to different people. Some places they don't like the word God, so use another word. So that's fine. Yeah. So just slide there, surrender to the universe, that kind of thing. So just trying to get people to get closer to the bhakti process. That's what we're trying to do. So thank you very much for allowing this to happen and cooperating. And I always find it's just a lot of fun. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.